The first set I did of these little picture tiles, I made 6 of them for John for Valentine's Day, and we decided we wanted several more to create a little gallery wall in our camper. So I'm going to make 8 more of these today. So I chose all my pictures. I just printed them out on a regular color copier, 8.5 by 11 paper, nothing special. So here's 2 more I still need to cut down. And I've got one of these little paper cutters that expands like this, and it's got your measurements on it. Makes it really easy to get the exact size you want. You can use a straight edge and an X-Acto knife. You can use regular scissors, but I can't always cut a very straight line with scissors, so I prefer to use a paper cutter. And I had this sitting around the house anyway because I'm a crafter. I've got a lot of craft supplies. So for me, this is the easiest way to get them cut into perfect squares like this one, ready to apply to one of the canvases. The canvases I'm using is Arteza 8x8 canvases. These things weigh nothing, but they're really sturdy. So they're not going to start to bend or curl or anything if it gets really super hot in the camper, because when we're not using it, we don't keep the AC on in it. So I picked up a pack of 14 of these for I think $16 on Amazon, of course. I'm a huge fan of Amazon. So they're a little more than $1 a piece to finish them off. And this is my finished project. You can leave it white and put your photo on it and have a little bit of a white background. I painted one to start with in black, and then I cut out my picture in a couple of different sizes to see which one I liked better. And I decided to go with black, and to do the photo itself 7.5 inches, so I've got a 1/4 inch border all the way around in the black, but you could do it any way you want. Alright, so I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see a little better what I'm doing. So the first time I did this project, I wasn't exactly sure what size I wanted. So I cut one out that was 7.5 inches, 7 inches, and then I think this one's 6.5. Trying to figure out what size border I wanted. And I ended up going with the 1/4 inch border all around. That's just the one I chose. You could choose whatever you like. Alright, so I have a picture here I printed on just regular 8.5 by 11 office paper, just on a regular old color copier. And I want my picture, I want mine to be 7.5 inches so that I have a 1/4 inch border all the way around. And so with this little paper cutter, it's super easy. It's got all the measurements right here. So I'm just going to put mine in, and I'm starting with 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to cut off a 1/2 inch from each side. And a little less than half. And then just hold this down. Cut that off. Dixon! Sorry, dog's having a conniption. Flip it around this way. Okay. Barky dog, barky dog. And then back in here, and I've got it right at 7.5. Whoops. Like that. Hold it down. Whoops. Slice it off. And now it's perfect 7.5 this way, and then I'm just going to cut the top and bottom. And you can see here, on mine, you can see where it's going to cut right there. So, I want to get it right about there. And this is just such an easy cutter. Perfect straight edges every time. This was a great investment. I've had this thing for years. And I've used it for all kinds of craft projects. And there we go. A perfect 7.5 inch square to attach to my the little canvas boards. Okay, So just regular old black acrylic paint. So I've just got regular black acrylic paint here on my my paper. And then I'm going to paint, make sure I get paint on all the edges, because I don't want to see any white. And then just right along the top edge. Now I'm only leaving a 1/4 inch border, so I'm not painting in very far. But if you want to have a bigger border, make sure you paint in further. Okay. And then this side too. Now this is my craft table, and I don't really care if I get paint on it so much. But just to keep them from sticking to it, I am just taking a plain old plastic cup and setting it down and just setting it on there to dry so it doesn't stick to the table, and I try to get a little less paint all over my table, even though it's a craft table and I don't really care if I get it messy. Alright, I'm going to do that for all 8 of these, and I'll be back in a few minutes. I've done 2 coats of the black around all the edges. I got the sides and then around the front, just enough so that you don't see the white border. So to attach these, I'm just going to use regular old Mod Podge. This stuff has been around forever. And this jar I have had for I don't even know how many years. And I have used this for so many projects. Man, a little bit of this stuff really does go a long way. So I'm going to glue it down onto the canvas and then give it a coat over the entire thing. After it's dried after it dries being glued down, I'll go back over with the Mod Podge and just a plain old cheapy foam brush and go over it one more time to give it, just to seal everything in. And that's it. This is a super easy, cost-effective project, and doing things like this in multiples, I think just looks super cool. So I'm just gonna put a little down there. Make sure it's spread all the way. I mean, easy peasy. And you know, this stuff will dry clear, so don't worry about getting it on there. We're going to go over the whole thing again anyway. So I just want a nice coat on there. And then I'm just going to place my picture, get it centered as best I can. Just press it down. And that's it. And then once that dries, I will go over it with one more coat of the Mod Podge, and then they'll be ready to hang. done. I've got 8 of them ready to go here. And I'm going to go ahead now and turn them all over so you can see them. Now they just need a top coat of one more round of the Mod Podge, and then they'll be ready to hang up on the wall here in the camper, and my gallery wall will be complete. So here is our finished gallery wall in our camper. We think this thing turned out really cool. We've got many family photos here from different adventures and different events that we've done together. And I have a total of 14 photo tiles, and I spent a total of $16 to make them. I've always liked, ever since they came out with the photo tiles, I thought they were really cool in the way you could just arrange them on your wall. But then they're pretty pricey for each one. But this one, a little more than $1 a piece, and it's mounted on a canvas wrapped board, and these are really sturdy. It's never going to curl, and even if they get banged, they're not going to get damaged. So these came out really, really nice. And they're just hung up with good old command strips, easy enough. And so we can rearrange them, we can move them around, and I think this just came out awesome. It was so much fun to work on, and I think it really made a big statement in our little camper having our gallery wall. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to our channel. We're working on a lot of different things revolving around our camper and where we take it, as well as fun stuff that I'm doing to my Can-Am Ryker. So thank you again, and always remember, watch for bikes on the road.